Let's talk some football, all right? Let's go back to the Broncos for a second.
Whatever, but I'm going to talk less, so you talk more. More of Les and less of Woody.
All right. Broncos running back C.J. Anderson is talking about losing weight. Troy Rank wrote about it in the Denver Post a couple of days ago. Should Broncos fans or should Broncos executives or coaching staff be concerned that weight is even an issue with him? Didn't Adam Gase in the offseason tell the Chicago media that C.J. Played a little chubby last year, and because he was chubby, he wasn't in great shape, and they had to rotate their backs in and out? Why is he, if somebody called him chubby, and now he's once again talking about losing, why is he still chubby? Why isn't he in better shape? He's got a starting position waiting for him, and he's chubby?
Well, don't you think the Broncos would say in the weight room to him, you know, either lose 15 pounds?
Yeah.
Adam Gase and I had a lengthy talk about C.J. Anderson last year, and I asked him how he could be so elusive to get out of the first tackler. And he said it was because his thighs were so thick that you can't, if you try to tackle him in mid-body, you're going to have problems with it. So I never got that from Adam Gase. He's left here. I'm not worried a moment. You know, this to me is another story. This is another story. In training camp, you can't go lose 10 pounds. If you have to lose 10 pounds, the coach will say to him, he's got a new set of coaches. One of them will say to him, even though his running back coach is the same, you know, you need to drop 10 pounds. You got to drop 10 pounds. You can do that. You could go out and drop 10 pounds today. I've had a day walking on a golf course where I've dropped 10 pounds. So fighters do it all the time. I think of all the stories I think about, this is about as big a non-story, another big non-story that we've talked about earlier.
No, I'm with you, especially in the summer. He wants to drop 6 more pounds and get down to 220.
Great.
He can drop 6 pounds like that. I'm more concerned about whether or not he's a guy who can carry the load for a full season. Let's remember, he only started 7 games last year. So I'm still waiting to see. I think there's going to be a rotation of the backs anyway, simply because that's the way the NFL seems to work these days. There are very few Adrian Petersons and Marshawn Lynch's
I'll
left.
ask you what I think is a more important question.
Okay.
Not to put down anybody who came up with the question. C.J. Anderson going to run for 500 yards, 1,000 yards, 1,500 yards, or 2,000 yards?
I think it'll be a tad over 1,000 yards. I think he's going to have a very nice season if he loses weight. That NFL update sponsored by Fantasy Sports Combine. The Fantasy Sports Combine is going on in Vegas next month, July 17th to the 19th. You're going to want to be there if you play fantasy football, because you're going to be rubbing shoulders. You're going to be joined by the likes of Adam Schefter, Matthew Berry, Mike Shanahan, Mike Ditka, Brandon Stokely, Kyle Orton. They're all going to be there, as well as a number of other former coaches and former players, to help you figure out who to draft for your fantasy football team. It's at the Wynn in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, fun, right? The 19th or the 17th through the 19th of July. You can get your tickets today at fantasysportscombine.com. Again, that's fantasysportscombine.com.